Mizzah, it's the show about Mizzah Tee. It's the show about Mizzah Tee. Hey there, fools. Big T here, and I'm back with another video, and this one should be a lot of fun. So you guys know, what was it, a week or so ago, we got the State of Play. That's Sony's kind of take on Nintendo Directs, basically. And we also got the Xbox. I forgot what it's called. Drawing a blank. The Xbox Over Experience, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to say that Nintendo wins again. Nintendo has clowned the entire industry, and nobody's like going back and retroactively saying, yeah, they were right, or Nintendo called it. That idea of Nintendo Directs and just doing like a recorded show for E3, all that stuff that Nintendo got clowned for back then. Nintendo was actually right in all of that, and you don't see these guys going back and saying, hey, Nintendo called it, we were wrong. Of course they're not going to do that. They're going to just go along and that page one story, even if they did go back, their rebuttals would be on page 10 or something. They would not admit they were wrong. And a lot of Nintendo fans at the time especially was defending Nintendo's strategy on this. Some of us, I wasn't sure. Like, I was kind of stuck in the old ways as far as E3 goes anyway. But before that, they had the Nintendo Show 3D on your 3DS, if you had that, with Jesse Cantrell. And I used to love watching that. What was it, weekly, bi-weekly? Maybe it was just monthly even. I think it was probably just monthly. And, Jesse Cantrell would run down the downloads coming out or just the retail games and stuff. And I was like, this is a really good way to get to people who actually already own your product. Obviously, if you're holding a 3DS, that's where you're going to see the 3D show. And I really liked that. And I was sad when it went away. But Nintendo saw the future of that stuff way before anybody else did. And, the fan bases of the other consoles, they tried to clown Nintendo. There was guys out there, oh, Nintendo's not coming to E3. They giving up, during the Wii U era. Nintendo gave up, apparently. They're not showing up to E3. They don't got nothing. All this silly stuff. And slowly, when the other guys started to do it, or when E3 started to kind of wean down a little bit, these guys did not come out and say, yeah. They started making excuses, for their fan bases. Oh, Sony's not coming to E3, so does that mean the same thing that it meant when Nintendo's quote-unquote wasn't coming to E3, even though they were there and they had bigger booths than anybody? They had a great presence at E3. They had lines out the door. Even then, they weren't at E3 just because they weren't doing a live presentation. These guys were saying, oh, Nintendo's done. The Wii U is a disaster and everything's over with Nintendo. They don't even want to go to E3 anymore because they got nothing to show. Now that Sony's missed pretty much everything all year this year, they cut off their own show even. They had nothing for E3. And it just came out that Sean Layden, a longtime dude, who I thought they announced this before, but I guess I was wrong about that. That he's gone. He's retiring. He's not retiring. I don't know what he's doing. He's retiring from Sony. He's out of there. So there's something in the water. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on. But you wouldn't know that listening to the fan base. Oh no, this is a genius stroke. This is a genius move. But when Nintendo did it, when Nintendo was starting this, it was the end. It wasn't a genius move. Even though now, in 2019, you can see it was a genius move because, as always, these dudes, these companies, and their fan bases will come around and eat off what Nintendo started. Nintendo sets the trends in the industry still to this day, and these guys follow, and they don't want to give credit where credit is due. So State of Play is a poor man's Nintendo Direct. I mean, I don't mind it because it's, it respects my time. It's not stupid long like the Xbox thing is. Inside Xbox, that's what it's called. I would not like to be an inside Xbox that as long as I have to be. So I have to pass. But Nintendo started it with the 3D show and then Nintendo Directs, and people would make fun of Nintendo Directs as well. But they were all right there waiting, waiting for the Nintendo Direct and watching so they could hate on it, obviously. But now that their company is doing a shell of a garbage Nintendo Direct, I hear nothing from these guys. I hear defense. They defend. And it's just, hypocrisy all around. And even though the State of Play, Sony's latest State of Play was short, I think it was, 20 minutes? It was still not worth my time. I saw 2 or 3 things I cared about. And, that may be different for other people. But I just think it's funny because, again, Nintendo used to get garbage from these guys about, Nintendo Direct's full of indies. And, State of Play outside of Call of Duty, little announcement, and The Last of Us was all indies. And I don't have a problem with indies, but these guys did when Nintendo was doing it. It's just hypocrisy at its finest, and there's no defense. But it is what it is. So Nintendo was pulling away from E3, and you hear more and more. Microsoft doesn't even go to the E3 venue for their thing. They have their own building that they do their press event from. And you hear about E3 talking about the people behind E3, the people who set it up, talking about changes coming and how they're dialing back on certain things, and eventually E3 is going to be just a quick little thing where maybe you'll see some new stuff. There'll be some press stuff. Maybe you'll have people talking about what's coming and what they're working on, but it won't be this big extravaganza. At least press wise, maybe it'll turn into something more of a con wise, like a convention type of thing for gamers. Maybe it'll turn to more something like that, and I'm cool with that. So we'll see what happens. But it's just funny again to see the hypocrisy around this whole thing, and Nintendo setting the trend again, not getting the credit from these people, these hypocrites. But I think the industry recognizes, for the most part, Nintendo's contributions and how they continue to innovate and how they continue to lead and have all these dudes follow, even if they even if they follow in a kind of haphazard kind of way. The Xbox experience. Look at me, I just merged 2 shows together. The Inside Xbox. I guess I like the pomp and circumstance. At least I appreciate that they are putting on a show. That it is a show and it's not just like some robotic Siri voice like Sony has, just reading off games. But again, there's an upside to that as well, because it respects my time, where Inside Xbox does it. So there's a downside to that. But it's just like why is it so long? I mean, I guess this is something for them. Maybe this makes Microsoft feel good about themselves, that they put it on this show, and it's just like a kind of a little event for them. And people pay attention. Even if they don't watch the whole thing, there is some attention on Microsoft for that time period. So, I mean, maybe it's worth it to them just for that alone. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know what they see. They may see something differently as far as what they get out of it or what they're trying to get out of it. So, I mean, there is that. But again, Nintendo continues to clown the industry and, continue to be this gravitational pull on the industry, for good anyway. I feel like it is for the most part. There's some stuff Nintendo needs to work on that I've talked about before. but I think they get it right especially when it comes to games. They get it right, and just moving the industry forward in many different ways that these guys, pretend they don't care about, but your company does. But yeah, anyway, that's it. What do you guys think in the comments below? Let me know. Do you see what I see? Did you see what Nintendo saw back when they decided to do things the way they're doing them and continue to doing them in the popular way? I mean, every time people are sitting around scratching and sniffing and clawing for a Nintendo Direct, is it going to be one this month? I mean, the excitement is palpable every time, and that's something Nintendo created. It took them a while, but they created that fervor. And you think Sony and Microsoft don't want that? You can say what you want to say about Nintendo fans, but I guarantee you that Sony and Microsoft would love to have a fan base like the Nintendo fan base that makes events out of everything, that idolizes the company leaders and whatnot, the CEOs and stuff, the way Nintendo does, and memes them and all that kind of stuff. Just has the passion that a Nintendo fan has for Nintendo products. I guarantee you Sony and Microsoft would love to have a fan base that is that kind of active, and not just like negatively active about stuff the way those dudes are a lot. So yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you as always for watching and listening, and now see you fools next time. Peace out.